Nau mai, haere mai, ngā mihi nui kia koutou katoa, ko Suzanne McFadden toko ingoa. Welcome, greetings to you all. Thank you for joining us this morning for this special webinar event co-hosted by High Performance Sport New Zealand in Locker Room, celebrating women in high performance sport. I'm Suzanne McFadden and I'm editor of Locker Room, a news site dedicated to women in sport. We'll be speaking to some incredible Wahine toa this morning, sharing their stories on being involved in the very first cohort of Te Hāpaitanga, a unique and very successful coaching initiative. And we're very excited also to be introducing the second cohort of coaches as they embark on their own Te Hāpaitanga journey. For the second year running, the webinar is being run virtually, thanks to the implications of COVID, but we have a great virtual setup and a great program for you all. We hope you won't experience any problems today, but if for any reason during the webinar you do have trouble with this site, the best advice is to close this browser and then reopen it with the link you came here on. If for some reason that doesn't fix it, Patrick from VidCom is here in the background to help, so just send him a message in the chat and he should be able to sort out any problems. Which brings me to the chat function. You'll see the button to enable your chat box on the toolbar, wherever that is on your Zoom page. Go ahead and type in your name, where you're from, and what brought you here. We'll be having a panel discussion around 10:50, so we invite you to ask questions and we'll try to get to as many as we can during the chat. We'll just wait a few more moments for everyone to file in. It's fantastic to see so many of you here this morning. It's a very changeable day here in Tamaki Makaurau, but I think what we're most looking forward to here is Friday, when we get a little bit more normalcy back into our lives. As you can probably see, I'm still waiting for my post-lockdown haircut. Well, I think most of us will be here now. So I'm going to ask Maya Vink to deliver the opening karakia. Kia ora, Maya.
Kia ora, Suzanne, and welcome everyone. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te taonga. Kia mā kina kina kia utu, kia mā taratara ke tai. He aki ana te atu kura, he tio, he huka, he hauhunga. Humie, huye, tai hiki. So today we acknowledge the great forces at work, connecting us to the spiritual powers. We get ready for the westerly winds, we prepare for the cold southerly, but the storm will blow through. And what will rise is the promise of a glorious day, the dawn of Te Hāpaitanga too. Join us together, join together, and intertwine today. Thanks very much, Suzanne.
Kia ora, Maya, that was beautiful. And in case you don't know, Maya is one of the 14 coaches in the very first Te Hāpaitanga cohort. I'd like to now introduce Raylene Castle, our CEO of High Performance Sport New Zealand, to say a few words. Kia ora, Raylene.
Kia ora, Suzanne. Tēnā koutou katoa, ko Raylene Castle aho no Ngāpuhi aho. Tēnā koutou katoa. It's lovely to see you all and all of your smiling faces once again. Some familiar faces on the line, which would have been really great to be able to be in person, but we're not. So the technology allows us at least to gather in this way. Te Hāpaitanga is literally the act of elevating, lifting and empowering, and I couldn't think about a better name for this program that we've been fortunate to induct 16 new people on today, which is obviously why we're here. And Sport New Zealand, High Performance Sport New Zealand has a women and girls strategy, and that strategy really led, to be honest with you, by the minister because of his deep belief that in some parts of our environment, women and girls are not getting the opportunities that they should get. And if you think about high performance coaching, that is absolutely an area that we have some significant concerns over. And we're doing some work with HP at the moment around investments for the going forward. And I actually asked the question, how many of our women's teams are actually coached by women? And the answer was, I think, one. And that's not good enough. So we're excited about the opportunity and the investment. I just want to thank all the HPSNZ crew that were part of bringing this together and the selection panel who went through the process. But most importantly, to congratulate all of you who will get announced today. It is an amazing experience. I know the 14, I think it is, that have already been through phase 1 have had good experiences. The benefit, though, of course, of cohort 2 is that we've now got 30, and that's where the value of that cohort actually coming together, sharing, learning, being brave enough to have authentic conversations and a safe place to have authentic conversations for the things that are going well, and being able to share those successes, but also have a safe cohort of place to meet and engage with people where things aren't going so well, and you can share those learnings. So it gives me great pride to be here this morning. I'm going to be sitting and watching in the background the rest of the morning, and I'm looking forward to seeing and hearing more from you all, but I wish you all the very best. Challenge you to be brave, make the most of it, have those challenging and difficult conversations, because ultimately that's where you will get the most out of this program. And now I get to hand over to Kim Mako, Lizzie Green, Hannah Starnes and Laura Thompson, if I haven't stolen your job, Suzanne, which I predict I may have, into introducing the successful candidates. So tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou, tēnā koutou katoa.
Hi everyone, my name's Hannah. I am from Rowing New Zealand, and I've been privileged to be on this journey for the last year or so with 12 other wonderful women. And I've again got the privilege to announce the first group from the next cohort. And I just want to say it's so cool to see another group coming through after us, and it's a real mark to the success of this program and what we've got out of it, and the work that's been put in, particularly by Lynn, Christian and Sonia, and others to make this thing happen. I just want to mention quickly before we start, we've got a little WhatsApp group with our cohort going on in the background, and everyone's cheering each other on and sharing a few little success stories that have been happening lately. So the support that's part of this group is just phenomenal, and it's been, again, such a privilege. So really excited to hand that over into the next group. So I will begin by introducing the first 4 of the group that's been announced. So first up, we have Holly Sullivan from Boxing New Zealand. Congrats, Holly. Emily Willock from Canoe Racing New Zealand. Anna Mashtovic from Surf Life Saving New Zealand. And Fiona Burke from Rowing New Zealand. Good stuff, guys.
Unreal. I think I'm up next. My name is Kim Mickle. I'm also part of the very first Te Hāpaitanga group last year, and I have to say it's an incredible experience, probably one of the best things I've ever done, and to meet all these wonderful female faces again for the next cohort is such an actual pleasure to introduce for this next cohort. So I'd like to firstly introduce my 4 coaches. So the very first coach I would like to introduce is Honey Hirimi Smiler from Rugby League New Zealand. Congratulations. Julie Seymour from New Zealand Netball. Congrats, Julie. Torina Ranui from football. And Leanne Walker from Basketball New Zealand. Once again, absolutely incredible to introduce you guys. I have learned so much in this 1 year of being in the cohort, and look, if you learn even a smidge of what I learned this year, then you guys are going to be incredibly blessed. So congratulations, guys.
Ooh. Hi everyone, I'm Laura Thompson and I coach in cycling and paracycling, and I've got the privilege of introducing the next 4 coaches for cohort 2. So they are Crystal Kawa from New Zealand Rugby, Tamara Reid from New Zealand Triathlon, Elise Fraser from Cycling New Zealand, and Alana Gunn from New Zealand Football. So congratulations to the new coaches, and I wish you all the best. It is a really amazing journey, as everyone's already said. Yeah, so just make the most of everything, and I'm sure you'll all learn a lot about yourselves and about coaching. So congratulations. I really like that Elisa's running before cycling it up as well.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Lizzie from Equestrian New Zealand, and as the other girls have said, it's been an amazing 18 months or a year for us so far working together, and it's been just amazing seeing the growth in the group and the girls over this time. So I have the privilege of announcing the next 4 coaches into the program. First up, we have Angela Winstanley-Smith from New Zealand Water Polo, Danielle Cranston from Hockey New Zealand, Helene Tompkins from Equestrian New Zealand, and Lucy Brown from Snow Sport New Zealand. Just want to wish you guys the best of luck, and just take every opportunity. There's so much on this program to offer, and the more you put in yourselves, the more you'll get out of it. So all the best.
Thank you so much, coaches from cohort 1, and congratulations to all the new coaches in cohort 2. What a really exciting group of women. I, for one, cannot wait to see what you'll bring to sport in New Zealand. It's going to be an amazing journey for you all. I'd now like to welcome Lynn Gunson, Te Hāpaitanga Program Leader and High Performance Sport New Zealand Women in High Performance Sport Manager. Sorry, that's a lot of words to get out there. Sonia Boland. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Sonia.
Morning.
Kia ora, morning.
Great. So thank you both for joining us. We're going to have a chat about the program and the broader impact that it's had on women in high performance sport. So we'll start with you, Lynn. The first cohort started at 12, became 14. This cohort is 16. Why have you been able to extend it?
Well, the first cohort had something like 53 expressions of interest, and we could only take a smaller number, which keeps a group tight and workable. They know each other and they're progressing through that. And so this time we've taken 16 because there's more applicants. And so we've extended a little bit more, and it's a manageable group size and it'll become very workable. So we're really keen to give more women an opportunity.
And I know that, you know, COVID has had a big effect on a lot of things in the last 2 years. How has it affected the program or not affected the program?
Well, Christian Penny, who works with me with residential, and Sonia, we were talking recently how we were very, very lucky actually in the last year. We've got 5 residentials and we got away with all of them, except for the last one was down on numbers because of people actually achieving and going overseas, and Phoenix and World Rugby. So we managed to get through most things, avoiding, but there was a lot of anticipation, reading and listening to the broadcast at 1 o'clock to say, well, what's going to happen next? So it has been tricky, but we're very lucky that we've managed to get through most of what we'd planned. So,
and yes, anything that you haven't been able to, I guess it's like this, you've been able to do Zoom calls and that kind of thing?
that taught us really quickly, actually, Suzanne, right at the start. The very first, we were supposed to start 1 month and COVID hit. And so from day one, we did get that effect. And so we were very careful after that. But we flicked on to technology, and actually we're going to use the same process this year because we think it was better than the one we originally planned. So I think if you've got the right attitude, you can turn most things into positive things when you really want to.
Yeah, good things coming out of COVID. We like hearing that.
Yeah.
Sonia, you have seen this Te Hāpaitanga right through from the genesis to now. How have you seen it working?
Yeah, well, I mean, I just think all you need to do is look at the quality of the women who we have involved, not just in terms of the current cohort, but the practice mentors that we have engaged. Having someone like Lynn leading it is pretty phenomenal in itself, but also then the quality of the women we've got coming through in our next group and the support they're receiving from their sports. I think it's really clear to show that when we trial new things, when we throw caution to the wind a little bit and see what happens if we, make some targeted investment and accelerate some opportunities, that really amazing things can grow from it. And, my reflection has been that when I consider the conversations I was having with sports 2 years ago or even 18 months ago, we've really moved beyond that whole needing to build the case about why something like this is important to actually understanding how it's really making a change, not just to the women involved, but actually to the sports they're in, how it's changing the way the conversations are happening and who's in the room for the conversations, and really working in partnership with the sports to create space, create opportunities, and that diversity of thought and experience and different ways of approaching problems or people is really starting to make an impact. So for me, it's early days, but I can really think that we're seeing the flow or the shift that we want.
Because the first cohort really was like a pilot program, wasn't it? At what point did you say, yeah, we can go ahead, we can go into a second cohort?
Listen, I'm a little bit of an optimist, so I probably started thinking we had 3 ahead of us. But honestly, from the beginning, from the application process, as Lynn said, we had 53 women raise an expression the first time round. And that really indicated that when you present new opportunities, more women will step forward than you think might be out there. And so that really set the tone for me that this can't be a one-off hit. And then quite early on, in terms of the work that Lynn had done and Christian in the residentials, the engagement of the practice mentors, it was really clear that what we were doing was something special, and that to really see it make an impact and really understand how not just to support these women, but the next groups coming through, that we needed to do something that was long-term.
Lynn, I really love how you said, you don't play the gender card on this program. Can you kind of explain that?
Yeah, sure. I think one of the things we've never really wanted to see is when you start categorizing people, you start putting boxes around them. So we wanted people to actually say, well, what's the real job here? So the real job is to try and get into all of these women want to get into a high performance space. And so to get to a high performance space and do well and not get smothered and sunk, you have to be able to have the capability to do that. So we focus a lot on skill and the way in which we engage and try and meet the environment and what it needs. And that's been significant for a lot of the women, and there's a lot of work gone in from all of the coaches to make some changes to how they operate. And by doing that, we're getting people getting through quite difficult spaces into really good spaces. And the concentration on the building of confidence to step forward. And then by engaging differently, then you get different respect and treatment back the other way. So everybody has to work together to make their athletes get to where they want to get to. And so we've got to be good enough to do that. And that's our approach.
It's a great approach. Sonia, what is the importance of the mentors? How have you seen that develop as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think they're really important to what we're trying to do here. And I think when we set out about trying to understand what we wanted to offer into the New Zealand system, it was, we were quite intentional that this wasn't going to be a program designed to improve women coaches, that it had to be done understanding the kind of ecosystem of sport, I guess. And part of that's the building of a community of practice. So the ability to have emerging coaches connecting with practice mentors. And I think importantly, this isn't just female practice mentors. We've got male, mentors into the program, because their perspective, their views, their experience of the system is really important. So being able to layer the emerging group with the experience and, I don't know if they'll like me saying this, but the wise owls almost of, they've been there, they've done it, and helping them navigate is really important. But really, it creates sustainability as well. So these women are going through a program for 18 months, but it's about what happens when they exit and the community of practice they've created, and also how that can continue to evolve, particularly with a new cohort coming through. And the other thing that I think is really valuable is that it's about the cross-sport connection. So it's about coaches being able to engage in different sporting contexts. And I was thinking actually about the benefit of COVID has potentially been that a lot of sports have been doing internal camps based in New Zealand. And so some of our coaches have had the opportunity to go in and be exposed to different sports, different settings that probably wouldn't have been happening if we thought about this, 18 months ago. So for me, it's about the cross-sport, but really about the community practice and how those relationships are sustained.
Right. Lynn, can you tell us, how do you measure success in a program like this?
It's an interesting one with coaching anyway, to measure success. So the obvious thing is, did somebody win something? But in this situation, what we've tried to do is get the coaches to be more conscious of any changes that are occurring for themselves. And so we have a log system that goes right through the whole time, and there's no actual curriculum. It's a thematic approach to this work. And we build our next pieces off what is needed. So it's readiness to learn. So there's group activity, like as Sonia said about the cross sport, but there's also each individual, and each individual has a scholarship, which they're working with as well, which should enable them to be more available for coaching. And so measuring has become an ongoing process as opposed to an end result. And it's measured in changes in language, changes in circumstances. So some people have earned new jobs, increased responsibility in their jobs, changes in that are recorded in terms of how they approach their work. There are 3 interviews during the time and reports written off those cross interviews, and there's cross feed from both the sponsor, the sport sponsor, and the coach and the mentor. So all of this information is all pulled forward, not as a review, but just to help people understand where they're at and where they might need to go next. So the measure is kind of there, but it's not in the form that is traditionally known. And the one that really counts is the change in confidence. And you can see people putting their hands up for things that they've never done before. We've got 2 coaches in Australia right now who've introduced some Aboriginal and historical Australian work into their work for a New Zealand team with 6 Australian players in it. The confidence to do that is unbelievable. And those people, at the beginning of the program wouldn't have even thought about doing it. So it's a raised flag for Christian that he's managed to get an understanding of some principles culturally into something that is in another country, which is quite difficult. So people stand up in places which we see. We've just run through some core knowledge material, and we had Te Hāpaitanga coaches putting ideas forward in ways in which they would never have done before, and in a public space, and then fighting for those thoughts and ideas in a different way, and then mostly going on the front foot more skillfully. and all sorts of, we've had one coach has written their own job description in a sport that you would never think would accept it, and they accepted it. And, you know, it's just amazing. Hats off to the women in TH1, because they've just done some great stuff, really, really great stuff.
Yeah. And the beautiful thing about this is that this is only the beginning, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, it is.
It will carry on. Those relationships and connections that they've forged through this program will carry on throughout their careers, throughout their lifetimes.
The other thing that's been running alongside this is anybody who didn't get into Te Hāpaitanga last year were in another group that formed, which was the Te Hāpaitanga satellite group. We're running that the same in the next cohort as well. So 4 of the 6 applied for TH2 and 4 got in. So there was another group of about 23 it was women, and this year it's 24 who were given another type of opportunity. So we're up around 60 now that have been sort of some way affected by this program. Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh, thank you so much, Lynn and Sonia, for your great insight into how the program has worked and how it will continue to work, and all the benefits that these incredible women are getting from being involved and from your input too. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Suzanne.
So now we'll move on to our second panel discussion, and I'd like to invite 2 of the current coaches, Mel Bosman and Jenny Armstrong, and Penny Pearce, who was a mentor to this cohort, to chat about their experiences and what they've learned from being involved in the program. Remember, you can use the chat function if you'd like to ask any questions of them, and we'll try to get them answered for you. So, kia ora, Mel, Jenny and Penny.
Kia ora, Suzanne.
Mel, we're going to start with you. Former Black Fern, now head coach of Tasman Mako in the Wharapama Cup. How did you get involved in Te Hāpaitanga?
It was actually through my NSO, which is New Zealand Rugby. I had 2 wonderful people, Kate Sexton and Alex McKenzie, always looking for opportunities in the female space to sort of grow female coaches. And it was Alex that called me probably at the right time. Actually, I was in a bit of a rut with whether I was going to choose to carry on with coaching or go back to my old career that paid. And he spoke to me about Te Hāpaitanga and gave me all the information. And I was actually talking to Lynn about the importance of herself being in this space. She would disagree with me, but she was a big factor of why I sort of put myself forward. But it wasn't an easy process, to be honest. When I read the script and spoke to Alex, there were huge aspects of Te Hāpaitanga that I knew would come into fruition over time. And one was sort of being in the limelight a lot more, and I don't like that. I'm a coal-faced girl, and it really put me off wanting to do this. It made me very anxious and nervous. I do suffer a bit of anxiety, and I think I argued with myself for the 24 hours prior to Alex McKenzie ringing up for my decision of whether I was going to do it or not. And it was a no, hard no, absolutely not. Got on the phone with Alex and I said, yeah, sure, I'll do it. So here I am, I think 15 months in, and although it was a scary opportunity at first, I was also very excited by the challenge, sort of getting myself into a new facet in life, and I've just grown exponentially since then. So very, very honoured to be part of this program, especially one of the pilots of our future Wahine tour that's coming through now. So,
well, very glad you made the yes decision on that. But can you tell everybody what your career was before going into coaching? Because I believe that was very interesting too.
Yeah, I was a petroleum exploration geologist. I worked on oil rigs for 15 years, so 300 men, 1 woman. That's really actually the first 5 years of that. I was too soft for the industry, to say the least, but I certainly found my backbone and my leathery skin, which has actually set me up for high performance coaching very nicely. there still are moments, and a lot of them, and I expect they will still come hard and fast, where you feel penetrated, you get dented, and it's a very emotional journey in coaching. But you can call on your different facets of your life to able to sort of pull you through those times, alongside your mentors and Lynn, of course. So it's been invaluable having that experience in my other facets of life, but also having the mentors that have been there and done it as well, bringing them together.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Now, Jenny, Olympic gold medalist. I was there in 2000 in Sydney when you won. I remember talking to you afterwards. You are now at Yachting New Zealand, but can you explain what you were doing when you came into the program and what you're doing now?
I guess I had a little bit of a different journey into the program. I was called a week before it was due to apply, and Yachting New Zealand called me and said, we'd like you to be involved in this program. And what was good, actually, before I even applied, was it just started the conversation about where do you see me being involved in coaching sailing in New Zealand. So prior to my new role now, I was one of the youth coaches, but basically a contract coach who would just come and go when they needed me, without sort of any sort of future commitments either way. So and that was good, but it was getting a little bit, it's nice to be involved a bit more in the background to actually implement more change. So through this sort of process of the Te Hāpaitanga, I guess I've had grown more confidence, as like Lynn was saying before, and not being worried to say what I think and tell people my viewpoint on things, and which has sort of resulted in the last sort of 3, just post the Olympics, I was offered a new role as the women's sailing manager and head of the laser radial program. And what is actually being based in Dunedin, I thought those sort of opportunities wouldn't be available to me. So I think it's been the COVID has actually waved a magic wand for me, because it's created the opportunity for me to move further in my coaching.
Brilliant. And I mean, this opportunity not only helps you, I imagine, or changes your career, but also your life. It impacts, it has a good impact, I imagine, on things even beyond coaching.
Yeah, I mean, it will involve a little bit more traveling, but that kind of comes with the territory. But I think it's good. I have 2 kids, 15 and 12. So it's good for them to see, their mother basically taking up opportunities, not being scared for the challenges. So I'm really aware of that kind of role modeling as well.
Cool. Now, Penny, you've been involved in equestrian for a long time. So I don't want to reveal the number, but as a coach, tell us how you got involved in this program as a mentor.
Okay, so I was privileged enough to go through the CAP program a few years ago, and I was also so fortunate to have Lynn Gunson. She was assigned to me as my mentor. So Lynn's been my mentor for 7 or 8 years, and she has just been, I'm not allowed to cry, but inspirational in my life. And just, as this program's going to do for you girls, it's just, she's given me confidence and encouraged me and empowered me to be the best that I can be. And I love that. So when it comes to this program, I heard about the concept because Lynn and I have talked about, what are women missing? Why aren't there more women in high performance sport? I really respect the leadership of Christian and Lynn. You couldn't ask for better people to lead New Zealand women forward. But as Lynn said, it's not just about women, it's about us working alongside men, and together, we can all achieve more. And I just love the whole concept of the program, how what Christian's brought into it with the culture, because that's who we are, and it's about recognizing who we are and how we operate as people in New Zealand. And it's been just a great journey to you know, when Lynn asked me to become a mentor, I was like, once again, you know, stepping into a new space, and I was like, oh, I don't know if I can do that, but you know, you have to put your big boots on. And I was like, of course I can do it. And I jumped at the opportunity, and I've learned so much this year, and I've been inspired to you know, just takes you to another place. Didn't know I could mentor, and it's just, I've loved every moment of it. So there you go.
That's brilliant. I want to know how I can get Lynn as my mentor.
Take a number.
Yeah, I'll be at the back of the line, don't worry, mate. Also, Penny, can you tell me, you had Hannah Starnes as your mentee. How have you seen her grow through this?
Well, I actually had a couple of hours with Hannah yesterday. I was out on the boat at 5:30 in the morning in that lake, and you know, last time, just a little funny story, she had me out on the lake, and the boat broke down. We were way out in the middle of Lake Karapiro, 5:30, it's freezing cold, and we had no oars on the boat. And so I said, what do we do now? And she said, well, we either sit here in the dark for 2 hours or we row in. And so we had to use our arms like this, and at 5:30 and row all the way back. I said, where do we have to row to? Way over there, she said. So I've had a lot of fun with her, but what do I've just seen her grow so much. You know, she's saying, yes, I don't think I've grown, but I can just see her. She's become way more open. She can see through a whole bunch of different lenses now. She sees a way broader picture. And she just questions, and she's coming from different spaces. I mean, I had a great conversation a month ago, and I was so excited to get off the phone to say she facilitates now rather than you know, she doesn't know how much she's learned, but me watching in, I can see how far she's come. So it's a very exciting journey. So I know I work with Lizzie in Equestrian too, but I can see the growth. All the girls in the program, I can see how far they've come from the year. So you new girls, you're going to be very super excited, you know, you should be.
I love that, you know, this is a cross code thing where, you know, your mentor is not from the same sport as you, so it opens your eyes, that you both open each other's eyes, I guess, to a lot more. Yeah. Mel, on that, and Jenny, on that subject, the cross code thing, how important has it been to you both to meet other women, other coaches from different sports who may be going through the same kind of challenges and journey as you guys?
Well, for me, it's been like gold, actually. Where I'm based, I am the only female coach here. It can be quite isolating, and often you'll find when you're in that space coaching that you are the only one sort of holding the flag for your sport, and you feel like you have to do everything yourself. You know, be responsible for everything, which I've learned 15 months later that that's not the answer. But having coaches around me with their own experiences and sharing their challenges, but also sharing their successes, just gives you that confidence and that hope if you are in a rut that, you know, you can get through it. They give you the tools of what they applied in their situations. And, you know, that's for me, I'm always carrying around this metaphoric tool bag. And like Jenny, for example, she's had huge achievements recently. I'm very proud of her. But I know what she's like at the residentials. You know, she's very driven, she's very ambitious, and it's very inspiring for someone like me. And she wouldn't know, but I often sort of pick up her little tools and throw them in my tool bag, you know, and that's just the way it is. You know, we're all sharing each other's wealth of knowledge and experience, and it just makes us all a lot stronger in the long run. So, Jenny, I'll let you sort of add to that.
There's not much to add there, Mel, but I think that I didn't realise the value probably before I came in and the other coaches' coaching experiences and the different things you can get out of, you know, for example, rugby. I would not relate anything. I would not have thought you could learn things from rugby and apply them to sailing, but guess what, you can. So it's great having a bunch of, like Mel said, just different perspectives looking in on your sport and their sports and sharing. But for me, I think finishing off this, when we do finish off, I don't feel like it will finish. We've got a great group of coaches who will always be there through thick and thin, and we've got a whole bunch of cheerleaders cheering from the sidelines, which we didn't have before, and that's exciting for the next group because the cheerleading team's getting bigger and bigger.
Penny, would you do it again? Would you mentor again?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. You have to say that here.
Yeah, finishing on what those girls said then, though, it's just, you explore and you learn, and there's the cross code thing, there's no conflict from within your own sport. So you actually, you hear exactly the same scenario, but you think, oh my gosh, I'm not a lone island. Everyone else is like it too. And just as Jenny just said to finish, you feel like you've got so many more connections. You're not alone. You can call on other people, and you have a support team around you. So it's very empowering. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just going to throw it out there. If any of you want to type us a question in the chat box, now's your chance. For each of you, could you just tell us the best thing that you've got out of this program? Starting with Mel.
Best thing. Oh gosh, it would actually be very difficult to say one thing. If anything, it's my ability to challenge myself in coaching with everything that I've learned through Te Hāpaitanga. Confidence, like Lynn mentioned earlier, being confident enough to challenge the space, to feel equal. I did initially go in thinking, okay, I'm the minority, I'm a female, but I think very quickly into Te Hāpaitanga that changed for me. And that became apparent with the language I was using, with my delivery towards my fellow coaches. We have a very award-winning men's rugby team here, and it's always been a them and us, but not this year. It was very integrated, and I think it was the ability to hold my own using the tools that I've learned, having the confidence to challenge them in their space as well. So I feel that's been gold for me, and it's having, I think, with that journey and everything that we've learned. I initially started in February. I think we had a broad scope with Richard Young around, what I think is important in my life, and where I saw myself. And I remember at the time I was thinking, I'm just happy for the journey. I'm just happy to see where the journey takes me. But now I'm very clear on what I want. I have a very set plan. And this is because of Te Hāpaitanga. My tool bag's very full, and I'm very excited to apply it for my next challenge next year. So, I absolutely love this journey.
Yes,
I don't want to get off it.
No, good luck for Super Aupiki, by the way.
Thank you.
Awesome. Yeah. Jenny, you're the best thing you've taken.
Well, like Mel says, it's very hard to pick out a few things, but I guess for me, it's probably the confidence thing has been the biggest thing, and realizing that I actually know a lot of the stuff. I know more than I think, and now I have a bit more of a framework and a bit more behind the thinking of my coaching now to base my coaching. So I guess I'm probably more confident, a bit more thoughtful with how I go about things. And yeah, I'm not scared to be that voice in the room, saying my thoughts and opinions and getting that across. Whereas before I'd probably stand back a bit. So yeah, confidence, big thing.
We do have a question. Thank you, Simone Spencer. What piece of advice would you give to other women coaches who are grappling with not being good enough for a program like this? Anybody can answer? Yeah, anyone?
Well, that was actually that was actually one of my issues that I had at the start. I won't be good enough for this. Why would somebody like me be able to hold my own. But it's if I could give you any advice, it's to back yourself and take that plunge, because you're not alone when you land in that water. You've got life rafts, you've got all these safety gear around you, you've got a string back to the mothership, so there's no way you can sink. Just be excited to take that plunge and trust that you'll have that support around you.
From my perspective, I'd be saying to anybody who's feeling like if you look at something and you think that could be exciting, or I'd really like to keep learning, or if you start from a learning position, then there's nothing to think about not being good enough. Because if it's about just wanting to learn, like the women that have come into this program, it's been hard work. Like, we haven't given anybody an easy time at all, in the sense of, you want to learn to be in a high performance space. It's not the easiest place to be, so we may as well experience some things now. And so everybody's just giving it a go. But you know, if you're going to go for a job, or you look at something and you think, well, gee, that might be interesting, then what's stopping you? You're only stopping yourself, actually. And the first question is, do I like the look of that? And would I really like to have a go at that? And if the answer is yes, then don't stop to think whether you're good enough or not. Just, you won't know until you try.
Lynn, I have another question for you.
Yeah.
What do you perceive to be the top 3 contributors or change agents towards elevating the coach's confidence?
Mostly we like to feel like we can do something. So increasing your skill is always going to give you some form of confidence to apply that skill. And so if we keep learning about something, and then what our philosophy is learning in action, while you're experiencing that, then that's one thing that's really important about building somebody's confidence. So if I walk into a room and as an Olympic athlete in there, if I don't know enough, then that's not going to make me feel confident. And if I'm not sure about how to connect with people, then that's probably not going to be giving me great confidence either. So we've focused really hard on being skillfully knowledgeable and applying it. So those 3 things make quite a difference to how you feel about your confidence, I think.
That's great. One more question for anybody who'd like to answer. What advice do you want to give to Te Hāpaitanga cohort 2?
Run away. No, I'm just joking.
No. Yeah, I remember when I first started, I don't think I had no clue actually what I was getting in for, but just embrace it, take all the learnings, you know, meet new people, and just enjoy the ride. It's when you look back a year from now, you'll be amazed what you've done.
Also, I think be open to receiving learnings. They don't come at you the way you probably know it. You know, there's very, very, very different ways to learn, and Christian will be a big driver of that. He's a wonderful man. You'll be lucky to have him in your life, actually. He's been a big game changer for me. I think Christian will get you pretty early on. So be open to receive all that he gives you, because that for me was my awakening moment in Te Hāpaitanga. It was very early on, and it was after spending that time with Christian and Lynn and all the mentors. It broke open that mold of fear for me, so I knew I was going to be okay after that. So I'm excited for you to get on that journey and experience it yourselves.
Great. And Penny, do you have any advice?
Well, I think, you know, the woman, it's, you know, competence and confidence, you know, and you're in this, or you've been accepted in this program because you've obviously got some skills, all of you, and so you're obviously competent. And I just think the program just brings structure around things like Jenny said before. You know, we actually know a lot, and a lot of us coaches have come from maybe an athlete background, and we actually haven't had any training about what we do know, and then these guys bring us these ideas, and they really make us think and answer ourselves, and we actually start to realize, oh, actually we do know this, but we didn't know that we knew this. And so over the year you get challenged on yourself and your belief system, but you tie all that back into the confidence thing, and you actually just become more confident, like these girls are talking about. And the confidence just gives you the courage and stuff to, empowers you to go out there and actually step up. And if you ask me what I got out of the last few years, it's really, I'm really at peace with myself to actually accept the challenge, which Lynn would know. 8 years ago, I'd run a mile, I had all these same feelings that you guys, oh, I'm not good enough, I'm blah, blah, blah. That's a load of rubbish. We're all good enough. It's just like Lynn said, step up to the challenge, embrace it, have fun. You'll have a lot of laughs this year. You'll make a lot of friends and, lifelong friends. And it's a great program. Just New Zealand is it's a great thing these guys have put together, So
it's brilliant, and it affects so many more women than just obviously the women in the cohort, and people around them are taking a lot out of this as well. So thank you all, panel, for your insights and your wonderful stories about your time in Te Hāpaitanga. And I hope you continue to enjoy it through to April and you get all your homework done. But brilliant to talk to you. And thank you again to Sonia and Lynn, and congratulations to the new intake of coaches. And thank you all so much at home or in your office or your bedroom, wherever you are right now joining us today. I hope you've taken great value from our guests. Now I'd like to ask Maya to deliver the closing karakia.
Kia ora, Suzanne. It's been really powerful to hear my colleagues speak again. So thank you to everyone that's joined us and everyone that shared today. Right, in closing, kia tau ngā manakitanga a te mea ngaro. Kia runga ki tēnā o tātou. Kia mahia te hua, mā kihikihi. Kia toi te kupu, toi te mana, toi te aroha, toi te te reo Māori. Kia tūturu, kia whakamaua, kia tīna, hui e, taiki. Let the strength and life force of our ancestors be with each and every one of us, freeing our path from obstruction so that our words, spiritual power, love, and language are upheld, permanently fixed, established, and understood. Let us go forward together. Just before I close it off, finally, just a little mihi to Sonia. Sonia obviously is heading back home to Australia. So I guess from us, from Te Hāpaitanga 1 cohort, thank you for being that person to us that's elevated us, that has enabled that shift in the organisations that you spoke about, that's given us incredibly valuable learnings about ourselves, our athletes, and the whole sporting ecosystem, not just coaching. So thank you for adding your piece into our lives, and your success, or the success of this program, will be seen for many, many years to come, not only through us, but as we pass it over to Te Hāpaitanga too as well. So kia ora, Sonia, all the best back in Australia.
Kia ora, Maya. And thank you from me too to Sonia. It's been great working with you for these last 2 years. So that's a beautiful way to end this special event. So until the next Locker Room High Performance Sport New Zealand webinar, mā te wā.
Mā te wā.